Hello and welcome to another episode on the Public Global. I am Ajay Prakash. Let's talk about Mohan Bhagwat today. Now, it's not very often that Mohan Bhagwat wakes up from his slumber and then goes out and makes a public statement which in itself may or may not be rational, but it sure does create some discomfort within the Bharatiya Janata Party. Both these statements have ruffled feathers within the BJP since the current ideology of the Bharatiya Janata Party under the Modi Shah regime does not subscribe to either of these two statements. Now, Bhagwat is not such a person who will wake up by himself and go out and make such statements. Someone must have woken him up, nudged him, written the script, given it to him. He has gone out and then read that script. So, in today's episode, I'll try to address these two questions. I'll show you some data regarding both of them. The second question is the one which creates a lot of issues within the social media, especially on WhatsApp groups, and it's floating around saying that the Muslim growth is too high and the Hindus are in danger. हिंदू खतरे में है क्योंकि मुस्लिम पॉपुलेशन बढ़ रही है. And the first one has started coming out in public domain rather recently, and Mohan Bhagwat is just one such person who has raised this issue. Is our fertility rate or population growth becoming a real concern, or it's just pure politics? It is rather ironical that Mohan Bhagwat should come up with such a statement because it was not too long ago that in April 2022, Rakesh Sinha, who is a member of the Rajya Sabha from the Bharatiya Janata Party, and he is a well-known RSS ideologue. He had brought up a private member's bill to regulate the population in the Rajya Sabha, which was never tabled, and he withdrew it after there was opposition from within his own party. The then Union Health Minister Mansukh Mandviya said that population control should happen by creating awareness among the people and it should not happen by force and being made compulsory. While withdrawing the bill, Sinha added, "We will be able to control our population rising above caste, religion, language, and district on account of serious efforts being undertaken by this government." Sinha cited the example of Hindu and Muslim population growth rate differences in Kerala and West Bengal. He said that from 2001 to 2011, the decadal growth rate of Muslim population in West Bengal was 21%, whereas that of Hindu population was 10%. Similarly, in Kerala, the decadal growth rate of Hindus was 10%, whereas that of Muslims in the state was 29%. And he further added that facts do not change by closing one's eyes. Mr. Rakesh Sinha needs to be reminded of two things. First one, it is your government which has not done the census which was due in 2021. We are already 4 years late and no one knows when this census is going to even start. Secondly, since you don't have current data, you can talk only about the past. And when you talk about the past, you start to pick and choose certain periods, certain dates, which will suit your own agenda. I really don't know from where Rakesh Sinha has got those population growth figures. He must be having sources other than the government sources because what I am showing you is from the census data which is available in the public domain. What I'm showing you here are the decadal growth rate figures, which means the percentage by which our population grew over a 10-year period, starting from 1951 when the first census happened till the last one which happened in 2011. And since no census has yet been done in 2021, the figures of 2021 are pure estimates. As things settled down in the country after independence, the Hindu population growth rate started to increase, We saw a peak in 1971. The growth rate at that time was 24%, which is roughly equal to 2% per year. Now, this 2% later came to be known as the Hindu growth of rate and was a parameter in our planning exercises. Post 71, the Hum Do Hamare Do campaign started, and the Hindu rate of population growth has been continuously on the decline. In 2011 2021, it is estimated to have come down to 14%. Now, on the other hand, the Muslim population initially for about 10 years saw a marginal decline, but thereafter it started to increase, and the Muslim population growth rate peaked almost 20 years after the Hindu peak. That was in 1981. But thereafter, the Muslim growth rate is also on a decline and has come down by almost 10% over the last 40 years. Now, it may not have gone unnoticed to note that the Hindu rate of growth has always been less than the Muslim population growth in the country right from 1951 onwards. The difference has been 7 to 8%. However, after 1981, the Muslim population is on a decline faster, and currently the difference in the two growth rates is about 6%. And later I'll show you that this gap is going to narrow down very fast. Before I come to the next section, I just want to show you some reactions to what Mohan Bhagwat said. Mohan Bhagwat advocates for the three-child norm, citing demographic concerns. Experts argue against reversing the family planning policies, which have been in existence for the last 50 years. Empowering women's choices is the key to addressing population issues. To Mohan Bhagwat's statement, here are some political reactions. Disgusting backward thinking. If declining fertility rate is the issue, then Bhagwat should start with Modi and Yogis. Congress and All India MIM have made such statements. We don't support the RSS, but if something is right, we will support them. Samajwadi Party, they sort of subscribe to what Bhagwat is saying. And MK Stalin, he has already said that I have urged people to have more children. 16 children per family is what he is advocating. Now, this is pure politics in play. None of these people are addressing the real problem which India is going to face in the next 10-15 years. Just to get the definition of fertility rate to you, the total fertility rate of a population is the average number of children that are born to a woman over her productive lifetime, assumed to be between 15 to 49 years, and if they were to live from birth until their end of their reproductive life. As of 2023, the total fertility rate varied widely across the world from 0.72 in South Korea to 6.73 in Niger, which only means that South Korea is going to vanish very fast from the world map and Niger is going to stay here for a very, very long time. A good fertility rate in India is considered to be around 2.1 to 2.2, which means that every couple is going to leave behind two kids as their own replacement. And 2.1, a little over 2, is to account for the different kind of unplanned mortalities which happen in our life cycle and within our own system. So, have we reached our target of 2.1? Well, according to this global map from the population review, India is in the bracket which is shown as a fertility rate of 2 to 2.2. African fertility rate is well over 4, 5, and right up to 6, whereas the rest of the world in the blue color shades are less than the Indian rate, at least of 2, going down to zero point 0.8 to zero point 0.9, which is right now the China's fertility rate. So it's not only South Korea that should worry about its vanishing population. There is China who has to start worrying, and also Japan has to worry a lot. And as far as India is concerned, it is the time to go and thank your grandfathers who had about 6 kids or 7 kids or even 12 kids, that we are not facing this problem right now in our lifetime, but in the next 10, 15 years, this problem is going to become a real problem because our fertility rate is dropping very fast. And it's quite obvious when I say India's fertility rate is 2.1, it doesn't mean it applies in all states. So the state-wise data is shown here from the National Family Health Survey done in 2019-2020. And as you can see, several states in the south below the Vindhyas have a much smaller fertility rate than their counterpart states in the north, the highest being Bihar, which is 3, Meghalaya 2.9, UP 2.4, whereas people like Tamil Nadu, states like Tamil Nadu, it's 1.8, Andhra 1.7, Maharashtra 1.7, and Gujarat 1.9. The population is also declining in the upper hilly regions of Ladakh, J&K, Himachal, and Punjab. Therefore, it becomes quite natural for the southern states to start worrying about their declining population. And that's probably one reason why MK Stalin came out and said that everyone should produce more children. Other than the southern states, there's not much of concern for the declining population, primarily because the states where BJP gets its maximum votes from, in those states, the population continues to rise. So when Mohan Bhagwat comes out and shows his concern for India's fertility rate falling below 2.1 and saying the demographics will change, he is actually not worried about the declining population. He is actually politicizing that issue. While it remains true that the states below the Vindhyas are the ones who have largely contributed to India's growth. If you see this figure of GST collection for the financial year 23-24, you'll see that Maharashtra contributes the maximum towards the GST collection, followed by a state like Karnataka. Even a small state like Haryana contributes much more than Uttar Pradesh. The significant contributors to GST are also Gujarat and Tamil Nadu. Revenue distribution based on population has been a grievance of all the southern states because for every 100 rupee paid in direct taxes to the government of India, how much they get back is shown in this figure. For instance, Tamil Nadu gets back only 29 rupees and 70 paisa. Karnataka even less at 13 rupees 90 paisa. And Maharashtra, who tops in the GST payouts, gets back only 7 rupees and 70 paisa for each for 100 rupees contributed to the central government. On the other hand, states like Uttar Pradesh get more than 3 times of what they contribute at 330 rupees. Bihar at 920 rupees for every 100 rupees, 9 times more. Jharkhand above 300, Madhya Pradesh 280, and so on. I could have shown you much more data on this, but that is not the point of discussion today. Things are going to get worse for the southern states if the population decline is not arrested. Let me now give you some data regarding the second question which I had put for today's discussion, that should we be worried about the Muslim population growth in India? The dominant headline across most publications emphasized the shift in India's demographic landscape, saying that Muslim population share increased from 9.4% in 1950 to 14.09% in 2015, marking a significant 43.15% rise. In contrast, they say the share of Hindus India's Hindu population declined from 84.68% to 78.06% over the same period, a 7.82% decrease. I'm quoting from this article published in the Business Standard in May this year. I have put the link here. I'll also put it in the description. Now, they quote these figures based on a study done by the NGO Population Foundation of India, and there's one simple reason. They say the census shows that over the past 3 decades, the decadal growth rate among Muslims has been on a downward trajectory, outpacing that of Hindus. What this means in simple terms is, well, yes, in the past, the Muslim population had grown much faster than the Hindu population growth rate, but the decline when it has started, the Muslim population growth is declining at a faster rate than the decline in the Hindu population rate. I had shown you this figure in the beginning of the decadal growth rate among Muslims and the Hindus. And now, if I do a little bit of analysis on that and I put a trend curve on this, you will see what the article means. The Hindu growth rate is, of course, declining, it will go down much further. But when the Muslim population growth rate started to decline in the 90s, it is declining at a much faster rate than the Hindus. So there will be a time in future that the Muslim population growth will fall below the Hindu population growth. So answering these two questions, is our fertility rate or population growth becoming a real concern or it's just pure politics? Well, the answer is people should be concerned about it, and right now the guys who should be concerned are turning a blind eye to this. Second question was, is the population growth of Muslims in India too high to be of concern to policy planners? Not at all. The population growth in both Hindus and Muslims is as per the norms, as per the historical trend. There is nothing to be worried about, and it's pure politics which is being played on this issue. So, thank you for watching this episode. Just to remind you, if you haven't subscribed yet to our channel, please do so. And I'll see you again next week. Thank you very much.